Foreign Affairs Minister Chrystia Freeland is keeping up the pressure on the Trump administration, warning that Canada's support for the updated North American Trade Pact may hinge on the U.S. lifting tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminum. Freeland, who met in Washington yesterday with U.S. Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer, says many Canadians have serious questions about ratifying the new NAFTA as long as those tariffs are still in place. Freeland says she told President Donald Trump's trade czar that Canadians want the U.S. tariffs and Canada's retaliatory measures removed before the countries move forward with the approval of the agreement. In addition to being ratified in Mexico and Canada, the deal must make its way through Congress as part of a process that experts predict will take until late summer to run its course. She calls the tariffs, which the U.S. justifies on national security grounds, illegal and absurd, saying they make even less sense now that the new NAFTA agreement has been signed by all three countries. New numbers reveal that more than 600 Ontarians died from opioid overdoses in the first 6 months of last year, as overdose prevention sites await word on whether they can actually continue to operate in the province beyond Sunday. Public Health Ontario stats were quietly updated last week to show that 629 people in Ontario died from opioid-related causes from January to June of 2018. That's 80 more deaths than during the same period in 2017. Data is also now available for the first 9 months of 2018 for hospitalizations and emergency department visits. There were 6,688 opioid-related emergency department visits in the province, up from 5,909 last year, and 1,544 hospitalizations, which is down from 1,623. In 2017, in total, 1,261 people died from an opioid overdose, up from 867 in 2016. NDP health critic France Jolina said under the previous Liberal government, the province often used to publicly announce when new information on opioid deaths and hospital visits was available. Jolina said with this government, everything that has to do with mental health, with addiction, seems to be back into the dark age when it was all taboo. Health Minister Christine Elliott is reviewing applications for 21 sites that will be established with $31 million in annual funding under a new overdose prevention site model planned by the government to be called consumption treatment sites. Existing overdose prevention sites could apply to continue to operate under the new model. Their licenses had been set to expire on January 31st. The government, though, then extended those licenses to March 31st as the applications were still being reviewed. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau promotes the Liberal government's budget efforts to make housing more affordable for first-time home buyers at a Maple Ridge, BC event.
Budget 2019 invests in new builds and helps municipalities grow their housing supply. We're also launching an expert panel so governments across the country can work together to tackle the housing crunch and to make sure that prices aren't being driven up even further by unfair and illegal activities. Budget 2019 invests more resources so the Canada Revenue Agency can investigate real estate tax fraud and money laundering in high-risk regions like British Columbia.
Michael Avenatti, the attorney best known for representing porn actress Stormy Daniels in lawsuits against President Donald Trump, was arrested in New York himself yesterday on charges that he tried to extort millions of dollars from Nike.
Today, we announce criminal extortion charges against Michael Avenatti. The charges are based on Avenatti's scheme to extract more than $20 million in payments from a public company by threatening to use his ability to garner publicity to inflict financial and reputational harm on the company. Avenatti's conduct had nothing to do with zealous advocacy for a client or any other kind of legitimate legal work. Instead, Avenatti used illegal and extortionate threats for the purpose of obtaining millions of dollars in payments for himself.
The websites Canadians used to file their taxes online were offline for most of yesterday as a result of what the Canada Revenue Agency called a computer hardware issue. The agency had to issue a blanket apology along with individual ones on Twitter as the cut in services prevented Canadians from filing their taxes online for much of the business day. By early evening, though, the agency was tweeting its gratitude for the patience of Canadians, saying the hardware issue had been fixed and services were back up and running again. Barrett Hayton scored a shorthanded goal and tacked on 3 assists as the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds defeated the Owen Sound Attack 5-2 in Game 3 of their first round Ontario Hockey League playoff series.